Talus? Talus? Who the is Talus? Yes, Rasco and Disco beer review with me, Disco, coming at you with another beer video from in front of the cans and bottles here on the bar. I'm still beautifully calling the Disco Arms. This beer comes from a brewery that's fairly local to me. I'm fairly certain I've had a couple of their beers before along the way, but never actually checked them out on the review before. I've been meaning to do for some time. The brewery is, as you can see on the can, Lock 81 Brewery. Lock 81, also known as Batchworth Lock, on the Grand Union Canal up in Rickmansworth in Hertfordshire, representing the area that the brewery first started. They now moved production, I believe, according to their website, a little way out the road to the town of Watford, also in Hertfordshire, and just over the border from me. So I'm pleased to be checking this beer out, especially with the name like this. I believe it's pronounced Talus. Talus? Who the is Talus? Fantastic name. Let's get it straight out to the glass and see what it's all about. I picked this beer because of the name Talus. Talus is a new-ish hop variety. I've had a couple of beers, I believe, with Talus in this year, and I've quite enjoyed them. So I want to find out if it is specifically the Talus that I enjoyed. Now, often on this review, I'm often heard to say that I'm not a particular fan of beers specifically featuring in the hops or hop varieties, which is a weird thing to say as a beer reviewer, perhaps, but I do like to try these things. So I thought I'd best start with some single hop beers so that I can specifically find out what it is about the hops. So first thing to note is an aroma, definitely very fruity, definitely very grapefruity, which doesn't bode well for my palate, which is a bit of a surprise. Maybe it wasn't the Talus that I enjoyed in the other beers. Grapefruit, certain amount of pininess. I said before, I say again, not a big fan of grapefruit, but I'm getting more and more tolerant of it in beers. So let's dive in and see what the taste is like, see what we can get on the taste of Talus hops. Grapefruit. Yeah, not a big fan of grapefruit. There is some strong grapefruit notes there. Does sort of, and a bit of pininess, which although it's perfectly fine and well-made beer and that's how it's meant to taste, just doesn't sit right on my palate. I will get used to it. I will get into it. I will keep trying. Yes, perfectly balanced IPA in terms of, I say balance, we talk about balance a lot, but it's mostly grapefruit. And it tastes like it's meant to taste. I'm still not sure, therefore, whether Talus is the sort of hop I'm going to enjoy. I did make the mistake looking up beforehand. I found it's the daughter of Sabro, and I tried a Sabro beer the other day, although I don't think it was single hopped. So yeah, that kind of grapefruitness just doesn't sit on my palate particularly well. Those that love a nicely citrusy, piney hopped IPA will be fine with that because it's perfectly decent beer. It's just my palate doesn't suit it. I was happy to pick it up though. What would happen is, and what I find is, again, Rasco says it's a lot about traveling down the drink, seeing the taste at the bottom is the same as the taste at the top. So that will kind of mellow. It comes into, I can feel a bit more now, kind of marmalade-y kind of jamminess coming through. A sort of orange peel kind of taste and mouthful coming right at the back end. Again, it's one of those beers, because I don't like that initial burst of grapefruit and hoppiness, but I'm still going back for it to see what else I can find. Of course, one of the reasons I picked the beer up, not just because there's single hop Talus in it, because of the name, obviously. As far as I can tell, it looks like a little bit of a riff on the old song, popular song. Who is it by Smokey originally, but I think it was popularised by a certain Mr. Royston Vasey, otherwise known as Roy Chubby Brown, who added the suffix chorus. So the song is "Living Next Door to Alice," with the lyric "Alice, who the is Alice?" So Talus works quite well on that, and as you know, I love a good beer pun. So it's a nice riff on Alice and Talus. So I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased to have checked out finally Lock 81. I'll definitely go back and have a look at some of the other stuff. This is getting better for me across my palate. Once my taste buds get used to that massive grapefruit burst again. You'll also note it's got oats in it, so it does kind of give it a more softer, pillowy. That's that kind of, I think, helps towards that kind of marmalade kind of taste as well. It's just softens everything up a little bit, smooths everything out, balances it out maybe. Quite like marmalade IPAs, and that's definitely got a kind of orangey marmalade note to it for me anyway. Might not do for you. Anybody else? I don't know. Some people's palates are different. I think mine is just very different and a bit weird. I've said that before as well. Um, it's a good beer. It's a good beer. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just my palate is struggling with it, but I'm getting there, like I said. Look forward to checking out some other Lock 81 beers. I think there's something else in there as well. There's a touch of maybe like salinity or kind of touch of savouriness on the back end coming through as well. It's right out of the fridge. It's still a warm day, back end of August here in the UK, so it's going down pretty well. It's reasonably refreshing and thirst quenching, even with that kind of grapefruit kick to it. Perfectly clean, clear, crisp mouthfeel on it. Lots of jammy sweetness coming through at the back end as well now, which I like. Not everybody does. I'm actually, I'm warming to that. I am warming to that. It's making me go back for more. I'm happy to go back for more. Unlike some hop heavy grapefruity beers that kind of just are a struggle to get through, I think it's the oats, like I say, smoothing everything out, making it quite enjoyable to get through, really. I'm oddly taking big mouthfuls for a beer that I don't necessarily like. A little bit of lacing on the glass. Still a smattering of head left over there, nice pillowy white head travelling down the glass pretty well, even though I'm kind of necking through that pretty quick. I don't normally neck beers that quickly, even on a review. Anyway, am I right? Am I wrong? If you had Talus, do let us know in the comments what you think about Talus. Have you seen it about in other beers? Do leave the comments below. And as always, like and subscribe. It kind of helps to get the video out there on YouTube. And until the next one, look, it's Talus. Cheers. One more thing, just before we go, forgot to mention, this beer is really brewed in collaboration with Wishful Drinking, great little craft bar up in the end of the high street in Rickmansworth in Hertfordshire, which I actually picked this beer up from. Popped up there the other day to get a couple of bits, including a disco beer, and this was one of them, so I picked it up from there. Thank you very much. Now that is the real end of the video. Cheers.